You can lock in the price of a home right now, even if you're not ready to buy it for another year. Brand the Mortgage Man here, and I've helped more than 10,000 home buyers over my 22-year career, putting me in the top 1% of loan originators nationwide. And I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that not everyone I speak with is ready to buy or in a position to buy today. In this video, I'm going to discuss a great alternative if you're unable to purchase a home right now, and that alternative is rent-to-own. I'll discuss what rent-to-own is, the two primary types of rent-to-own agreements and their differences, how to structure rent-to-own deals and the benefits of locking in a price now versus waiting, what happens at the end of the rent-to-own contract, how to find rent-to-own properties, and who rent-to-own is best for. So let's get into it. Well, first off, what is rent-to-own? Well, rent-to-own is an arrangement where a person rents a property with the option to buy it later after a certain period of time at a specified price. And there are two types of rent-to-own. The first type is a lease option. This is a standard rental agreement with the option to buy the house at the end. The second is a lease purchase. Payments contribute to the equity and the renter becomes a part owner of that property. The difference between the two is following. A lease option, there's no requirement to buy the house at the end of the rental period. The payments may be applied toward the down payment if the option to buy is exercised. Lease purchase, on the other hand, the renter is actually added onto the deed and becomes an owner in that property prior to closing on it. It's a more binding agreement. The renter is required to buy the house at the end of the term. Now, there are risks and legal implications if the renter fails to qualify for traditional financing. Now, how do you structure rent-to-own deals? Well, you need to agree on the home price. And when you do that, you're going to agree on a price today, but you're going to close on it tomorrow. So it can be extremely advantageous to the buyer of the property, especially in a market where property values are appreciating substantially. You negotiate whether or not part of the monthly payments are going to contribute toward the equity. Let's just say that you were going to pay $5,000 a month in rent. You may negotiate with the seller that of that $5,000, $2,000 every month will go toward your down payment or become equity in the property. So after 1 year, in that example, you'd have $24,000 that went toward the equity in the property. You also need to set expectations for maintenance and upkeep responsibilities with the landlord. Who would it be the responsibility of you, which is the potential buyer, or the responsibilities of the seller, the landlord? Now, what happens at the end of the rent-to-own contract? Well, let's talk about a lease purchase first. You would transition to a refinance process since you're already on the title to the property, right? We said a lease purchase, you're added onto the title as an owner. So rather than going through a purchase mortgage, all you have to do is refinance to remove your landlord off the property and now continue forward with your new mortgage on the property. You have the potential benefits of a lower interest rate and a simplified mortgage process because of that. Now, with a lease option, it's considered a new purchase. It requires a down payment and possibly a new purchase agreement. But as I mentioned, if a portion of your rent was going toward that down payment or being collected to go toward your down payment over that past year, well, that can cover the down payment portion that's required for the purchase. Now, how do you find rent-to-own opportunities? Well, the strategies to find rent-to-own properties are searching Zillow, contacting homeowners directly. You can work with real estate agents, look for that have connections or are able to negotiate them for you. You can use specialized websites like Home Finder or Rent-to-Own Labs. You can use rent-to-own services like Home Partners of America, Divvy, or Dream America, right? So there's multiple ways in which you can try to find these rent-to-own properties. Now, who is a rent-to-own good for? Well, let's talk about the sellers first. It's good for sellers or maybe not ready to sell their property today, but want to sell in the future, right? They're getting someone who's committed to purchasing the property now at a specific price. And if they're not ready to actually offload the property for another year, it may work to their advantage. You may say, why would someone want to do that? Well, maybe they're trying to avoid capital gains tax and they need to hold on to the property one additional year to avoid the capital gains tax. Well, our rent to own may be a good option for them. It's good for buyers because it's good for those who aren't quite ready for a traditional mortgage. Maybe they don't meet traditional mortgage guidelines yet due to issues with credit or income that they need to work on. Or maybe they're self-employed and they need to have 2 years of self-employment. They only have one, so it gives them the extra year that they need. It helps people who are looking to build credit, maybe save for a down payment. Like I said, needing more work history. It's also good for investors looking to build the rental property portfolios without the upfront costs because you can use rent-to-own properties as rental investments or for Airbnb. So rent to own can be a viable strategy for individuals who may not be financially ready to buy a home right away, but want to secure a future purchase option. By renting a property with the agreement to buy it later on, typically within a few years, renters can lock in a purchase price, build up savings for a down payment, and improve their credit score in the interim. However, it's important to carefully review the terms of the agreement, as some rent-to-own contracts may come with higher monthly rents or non-refundable option fee. While this path offers flexibility and time, it's essential to weigh the long-term financial commitment and ensure that terms align with your personal circumstances and market conditions. If you found this information helpful, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can continue educating yourself on real estate and mortgages, and make sure to leave a comment below if you have questions about your own scenario. I reply to 100% of the comments left on my videos.